Hey, She Ace That listeners, find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Every subscribe, like, and follow goes a long way, and I can't thank you all enough for your support. And with that, let's get into today's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to She Ace That. It's your host, Alexandra. Before we get into today's conversation, I have another She Ace That collectional item to share with you all. It's from one of my best friends, Liz Coe. It's a Michigan State visor she sent me. I was like, this is actually awesome. If you go back and listen to our episode, it was called Court Anxiety, Playing Time, and College Ball. You'll hear us talk about our time playing club volleyball together at Michigan State, which again, club sports are always a great opportunity to continue the sport you love in college. There's so many options. And really, we just talk about how much that experience shaped both of us. We talk about court anxiety in general and how to navigate the playing time dynamics that majority of athletes go through at one point in their life. And getting this from her means a lot. She is somebody who's really supported She Ace That and supported me since I started this. It's always really important to find those people in your life that show up for you when you're trying to build something new, show up for you when you're taking risks and support you. And she's been that person for me. And so I can't thank her enough for that. Also, her mom. Love her mom. Shout out Jenny. She gave me like this Michigan State recyclable bag, which I'm pumped about. I'm a huge sustainability person. I absolutely love it. I love her and her family so much. I'm just grateful for her friendship after meeting her in college. The friends that you meet later in life are something so special, especially when you're in different places in life. Like it's just really great to keep those people around. So thank you, Liz. I appreciate it. And I'm so grateful for your support and love adding another MSU item to the wall. I'm not biased or anything, I swear. All right. A few things I just want to touch on before we get into this awesome conversation with Victoria Clay. I love the concept of needing to do things in a different way in order to make it. There is some truth to it. You have to do things others won't in order to stand out and make it. It's not always true, but there is a truth to it. You do have to be willing to work harder. You do have to be more willing to show up consistently. You need to be more vulnerable, and maybe that feels uncomfortable sometimes. You have to put in the hours when no one's watching. You have to make sacrifices that other people aren't willing to make. And I do think there's a beauty in that. That's why some of the best in any sport, in any part of careers, are the best of the best. But what I keep coming back to is it's not just about doing more than everybody else. It's about doing it with the right people around you. You do need support. And yes, are there people out there that show up alone and do things? Yes, there are people out there that have been successful fully on their own. And sometimes that's the only way for survival. What gets lost sometimes is when we're scrolling through all these posts about hustle culture and standing out and being different, we forget that the people who actually make it, the people who build something sustainable and meaningful, they're not always doing it alone. And they're building communities and they're lifting others up while they are rising. They're creating space where everyone gets better together. And that brings me to something that Victoria talks about today in this episode. And she has this motto that she tells her gymnastics team after every practice. And it's that confidence comes from your preparation. And she breaks it down with this balance beam analogy that's so simple but powerful. She says, when you're at practice and a skill feels off on the beam, what do most gymnasts do? They probably just fall off, right? They're like, oh, I feel slightly off balance. I'm going to drop off the beam. I'm just at practice. They don't fight to stay on always because it's just practice. But then when you get to a meet and that same skill feels off, your body remembers what you trained it to do. So if you didn't fight to stay on the beam during practice, you're not going to magically know how to fight for it when it matters most during a meet. Practice like you compete. That's the whole idea. And it hit me because how many times have we done that as athletes? How many times have we gone through the motions in practice, not really competing at game speed and not really pushing ourselves the way we would in a match? And then we get into pressure situations and we wonder why we're nervous, why we're second guessing ourselves, why the confidence isn't there. And it's because we didn't prepare that way. We didn't practice like we were going to compete. And that applies to everything, not just sports. If you're building a business, starting a podcast, putting yourself out there online, are you just going through the motions? And I have to check myself on that very often. Or are you really showing up the way you would if thousands of people were watching? It doesn't always matter who's watching, but the messaging that you want to put out there about yourself, your team, it matters because eventually they will be watching. And your body, your brain, your habits, they're going to default to whatever you've been practicing. Victoria knows better than most. Today's guest is someone who really embodies what it means to do things others won't while building something bigger than yourself. Victoria Clay is a former Division I cheerleader, a CycleBar instructor teaching sometimes 13 classes a week, which my body, I'm like, I don't know how you do that. She's a head gymnastics coach at Northville High School here in Michigan and the founder of Victoria's Fitness, where she's impacted over 100,000 people online, which is incredible. And just impacting one person that is life-changing. That's also why I started Chase. That is, if one person gets something from any of the stories we share, that means more than I can ever say. And that's what makes Victoria's story so compelling to me, is it isn't just the accolades or the follower counts. She broke her back in 3 places at 15 years old and was told by doctors she's probably done. And then she battled 3 years later of self-doubt before posting her fitness videos online and just did it, and it took off. And it's that she shows up on that CycleBar podium sometimes 13 times a week and gives everything she has to all of those people in that room and creates a space where vulnerability is welcomed and bad days are okay to share. And I've been to some of her CycleBar classes. That's how we met. I had a friend invite me one time and then I got stuck on it. And that room and the impact that I've seen her and the other instructors make on others is incredible. Like, there were so many people in there that started their fitness journeys because of people like Victoria. It's just amazing to meet people that have such an impact on others, that change other people's ways of life. Like, she really has that positive impact when you're around her, when you talk to her, and it's the most incredible thing. And it's so refreshing. And Victoria genuinely believes that you're not meant to do life alone. She's built her entire fitness philosophy around that idea. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. In this conversation, we talk about overcoming perfectionism, especially in the gymnastics and cheerleading world, but it goes for everything. What it really takes to prepare for high pressure moments, how she fuels her body for those 13 spin classes a week, plus workouts, plus team workouts she does, and how she's created community both in person and online that makes people feel seen, heard, and lastly, stronger together. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Victoria Clay. Victoria, welcome to She Aced That.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So I want to go back to the beginning, being a gymnast and cheerleader, how athletics started to shape who you are today.
Yeah, 100%. Athletics is has always been the biggest part of my life and foundational to honestly everything that I've that I have done in life, and I'm so grateful for it. One, doing sports all those years, it did keep me out of trouble. Like, I followed the pretty straight and narrow because of sports and because I was dedicated to it and wanted to excel. I really think that just growing up in sports, just like anyone else, I think it helps you with just discipline in general and routine. And I think from a young age, being in gymnastics at 4 years old, they shape you really well to be disciplined for the rest of your life. So even though I was disciplined in sports, I really feel like that discipline transferred into external things that I have learned just in life lessons in general. So I'd say that was number one. Number two would probably be time management.
Mhm.
Have helped me with time management so much because, as you know, as a former athlete and coach and everything, like, it takes a lot of time out of your week and out of your day. And when I was a athlete in college, it's like a full-time job. You know, you're in practice, you're in games, you're flying to things, different states and all of that. And you really have to learn how to manage your time to prioritize relationships and school and a social life and all of the other things. So sports really, really helped me with that. And then I would say the last thing is sports shaped me as far as helping me face failure and know how to deal with failure, because especially in a sport like gymnastics and cheerleading where you have to be perfect,
Mhm.
we're judged based on perfection. And as someone who struggles with perfection, I had to learn from a very early age that you're gonna fail and it's okay to fail, and learning from that failure that it's not truly a failure. It's more so, okay, how do I learn from this and how do I get back up and pivot and figure something else out? So I'd say those are
Mhm.
kind of the top three things on how sports really shaped me.
The perfectionism aspect with cheerleading and gymnastics, how do you get through that at such a young age?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I'm being 100% transparent, I still
Mhm.
struggle. Like it's something that in general and even in my business life and my personal life, like that is something that truly did affect me from a young age. But I
Mhm.
will say that, every single time that you learn that you can get through it and that okay, it's not the end of the world. Like I think mentally I've had to train myself to know that if you do fail in something, like it is okay and the world is not going to end.
Yeah.
There are always lessons to be learned in that, and not that I want to say I like to fail. Of course I don't. No one likes to fail, but
Yeah.
I like that when I do fail, every single time that I have failed, I've learned something greater from it in the long run. And when I look back to the times where I feel like I have like grown the most, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever that
Mhm.
is a position that I was put in where I failed at something.
I didn't realize how impacted everybody was. When I was younger, we would all internalize those issues or things that we were going through. And now I feel like we're able to talk about it more and support each other more as coaches or as athletes to just add tools to our toolbox, untrain our brain from the perfectionism side of sports.
Yeah, and even as a coach now, I coach Northville High School's gymnastics team as their head coach, and I work with these girls a lot on you gotta go out there and you gotta try your best every single time,
Mhm.
but as you're doing that, it is okay if it's not your best day, or it's okay if you mess up on whatever, as long as we're getting out there, we're trying our best, and then from that, we are able to analyze what happened and move on and get better from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now that you brought up being the varsity coach at Northville, on top of CycleBar and your fitness content, how do you balance all of that? And what do you want your gymnasts to take away beyond just the skill sets?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something I have worked on very hard in the last year because in the last year, my life has definitely become a lot more full with growing an Instagram platform. And it's been one of the greatest blessings of my life. Truly, we can talk about it more, but I've met
Yeah.
so many incredible people. I learned more than I ever even thought I ever could. But just to give people a little bit of context and just tell you that you can do whatever you put your mind to. When I started my business and everything, I didn't even know how to use a Google Calendar. Like I wrote everything down on little sticky notes and everything. And so now, I mean, Google Calendar is like my lifesaver. If it's not in my Google Calendar, it's not happening. So learning to schedule things out like that. I even tell my one-on-one personal training clients for your workouts, for your nutrition, schedule that in to your calendar, just like it's an appointment, just like it's something that you have
I
to
need
do.
to get better at that.
Yeah, it's hard, right? But written in your calendar, like for example, if you have, a really important doctor's appointment, you're going to go to it because it's scheduled in
Yeah.
your calendar. So same thing with everything else. I tell my girls that with their homework and with their work and with their gymnastics and with everything, you have to plan things ahead of time because if you don't, it's not going to happen. So being organized in your calendar is something that I have struggled with and something that I have truly learned and has helped me I even schedule in little things like run to the grocery store because then all these things start to pile up and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna be able to get all this done. So
Yeah.
Google calendar has been my friend.
I love that. I agree. We need to take the time to be proactive and get ahead, and then that will actually make us more efficient long term and save us time.
100%. Yes.
Training your brain that way. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, and the more that you do it, and I say this all the time to all my one-on-one clients, but
Mhm.
you're gonna prove to yourself that you can do things by keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So, how
Yeah.
many times do we go back and forth in our heads of, "Oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I should do that," and then you don't do it, and so when you do that, you're just proving to yourself that you're not gonna do it. So
Yeah.
instead, keeping the promises you make to yourself, if you go back and forth in that internal dialogue that you have in your mind, okay, this is what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. And then when you do it, that triggers your brain a signal that, like, yes, I can do this and make this a part of my routine.
I love that. And so, gymnastics, what do you see them struggling the most with, and how do you mentor them?
We circle up after every single practice and we talk about things that we think went well at practice and things that we need to work on. And then we do the same thing after meets. After every single meet, we have like a team huddle and we chat about things, what went well at the meet, what can we, work on from there. The thing that comes up every single time from multiple girls is always confidence. I want to be more confident. I want to be more confident. So, a motto that I've kind of established with our team, and the girls know it by heart, is confidence comes from your preparation.
Mhm.
Meaning, if you practice like you're going to compete, that's where your confidence is going to come from. And no other external factors can get in the way if you truly practice like you're going to compete. So, for gymnastics, like a lot of times we'll say for beam, for example, for bounce beam,
Mhm.
they are practicing and a skill, they just feels off and they just fall off the beam versus at a meet, if you're falling off a beam, you are going to fight so hard to stay on that balance beam. But if you're not doing that at practice, then when you get to the meet, it's just gonna signal your brain and your body that, "Oh, this is off. I'm just gonna pop off the beam."
Mhm.
You could have saved that skill. So, I think big time is confidence comes from your preparation and practicing exactly like you compete.
I totally agree. We see that for all sports in general, especially in high competitive situations where you maybe feel nervous or there's a bigger crowd watching. Being able to fall back on the consistencies is really important. So then you're able to kind of minimize the nerves as best as you can, given the tools that are in your toolbox.
Yep. Yeah.
So, how did you get into cheer in the first place? And how did you know you wanted to cheer in college?
Yeah, so as I said before, I grew up a gymnast
Mhm.
my entire life. This is actually something that I feel like I need to share more often to encourage people, and I honestly don't. But I had a really bad injury in high school. I had a back injury where I actually broke my back in like 3 places.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was a little crazy. I was like 15 years old in a corset back brace, and that wrecked me. I felt like I was really doing well in gymnastics and had a lot of dreams and goals, and that was a pivotal moment for me. But everything happens for a reason, right? And
Yeah.
that, I switched to cheerleading because cheerleading was a lot less impact on my body than gymnastics was. And so I cheered in high school, just sideline, never did competitive because I was doing gymnastics in the wintertime. And then I ended up going to Liberty University and being able to be on their cheerleading team there. And I cheered all 4 years, Division 1 cheerleading, was able to cheer football, basketball, volleyball. I went to the March Madness NCAA tournament, got to cheerlead at that. That was like the coolest thing ever. A lot of big stadiums we got to go to. So, anyway, none of that would have ever happened. Like cheerleading was not even on my radar if it wasn't for the injury that I had in gymnastics. And Division 1 cheerleading, any Division 1 sport, like I said at the beginning, it teaches so much, and I would never change my college experience for anything because of being part of that team in college. Like, that was the greatest thing ever.
Wow. And you can break your back and you can still get back into something that you love. And people have injuries and setbacks all the time. They can be minor things, they can be major things in the moment when something happens where it's like, oh my gosh, like it's over, right? Either it's the game that's over, a season that's over, maybe our long term career's over. And what you went through is pretty scary in itself. So I give you a lot of credit for persevering through that and how much you've accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, there were doctor after doctor that was like, "You're probably done. You're probably done." And but, working my butt off, and I did hours and hours of therapy, and not even the physical, but like you said, the mental capacity to tell yourself that you can get back to it, and obviously in a safe way, but I knew that there was more for me out there, and that led to me, cheering at a Division 1 school for 4 years, which shaped a lot of who I am. So, I'm grateful for that.
If anybody wanted to cheer or do gymnastics in college, do you have any advice for them to like, kind of set them up for success and start looking in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the number one thing I think is to, do your research on the programs and the culture that those programs create. I was really grateful that it was a great culture where I was at Liberty. It was a private school, Division 1, but private school. And Liberty is where I wanted to truly go for schooling, for everything else, and cheerleading was kind of the cherry on top. Um, I would just say, for anyone looking for things, one, obviously look for the program and what the program is. Another thing you can do is reach out to people that were on the team prior. I did
Mhm.
that well, reached out to some people that were either currently on the team when I was in high school, they were already in college or had graduated. And that was really helpful just to get a real life perspective on what the atmosphere is like and what to expect kind of going into it.
That's really helpful. I appreciate that. Do you have any advice on while you're in college and you are traveling so much, do you have any advice to help navigate being a student athlete at a collegiate level?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. It was tough for
Yeah.
sure. You definitely have to choose. You have to be selective on what you say yes to and what you
Mhm.
say no to. And, you know, you just have to know that you have other priorities that maybe I don't want to say the average person, but someone who's not sports at a collegiate level, you know, they might not have the same priorities that you do. You know, that's taking care of your body in the right ways or taking time to rest when you need it
Mhm.
or setting aside extra time to work on your schooling when other people are hanging out or whatever that may be. I mean that for sure is a huge difference, but something that I think if you lean into it and you lean into your teammates that are also doing
Mhm.
the things. Like, I had so many friends outside of cheerleading, but my people were the people that were going through the trenches with me through the same exact thing, and we were able to help each other through that.
I fully agree. Different priorities. There's other things that you have to kind of set aside or allow yourself to accept that you could be missing out on. I played on the club team at Michigan State and it was still demanding. We would have multiple nights during the week of over 2 hour practices, really late. And then we would be traveling on the weekends for tournaments to other schools. My friends were at practice with me working hard and we just had the
Yeah.
same priorities.
Yeah, different priorities, different goals, and I was the same as you. I had no desire really
Mhm.
to do anything else because I had goals that I wanted to accomplish. And like you said, you have a head on your shoulders where you kind of know what you're doing and where you're going. And that was what I worked so hard for to be able to have the opportunity to do that. And our experience is just a little bit different. And there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. I honestly, for me and for my path and for you and your path, like it was exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. In college, you studied exercise physiology. So, when did you know that fitness was going to be your long term career as well?
Yeah. I mean, I had just such a passion for just health and wellness in general and everything that comes with it. And originally I thought that maybe I wanted to do like just personal training but I still wanted to get all of the science background behind it and have a physiology degree. So I went through and did that knowing that, you know, I could go get my personal training and everything later. So that was the goal. I will say looking back at the time, I had no clue, like, what I truly wanted to do and where I wanted it to go, and no clue of the kind of impact that you truly can have. You know, in my head, I was like, "I wanna help people build healthy habits and stay in shape and do all the things," but the more I got into it, the more I realized that being a trainer and being a coach is so much more than that. It is the impact that you make on people's lives and the amount of clients that I train, they, you know, yes, they have lost the weight that they wanna lose, or they have gotten in the best shape that they've wanted to get in, but when you ask them, like, what was the best part of the program, at the end of the day, most of them will tell you that it changed their habits and their mentality and their overall lifestyle, and to me, that is something that I never expected I would have the opportunity to be able to do, is to, like, truly impact someone's life, and once you do that, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever that people are entrusting me to make that kind of impact on their life." So after a couple years of doing that, I was like, you know what? We're going to level up a little bit. And I wanted to get into nutrition coaching. So, especially if we're talking athletics, especially as a former athlete, I feel like in the time I was growing up in athletics, there was not nearly enough information and support around fueling your body and fueling your body in the right ways to
Mhm.
perform best. And because of that, I had such a passion to teach others things that I wish someone would have taught me along the way. So, went and got my certified nutritionist last year actually and have been nutrition
Awesome.
yeah, through that too. So, that's been another huge passion of mine that I have just absolutely loved.
I love that. It is so impactful. Yes, you are focusing on the fitness side and yes, you're helping others, but there's such a bigger impact there. Like what you're doing and changing people's lives and what they're getting from you is life changing. Like it's not just, a temporary thing. You don't know what you don't know until somebody is there to help you or you're able to learn it. I've seen what CycleBar too, which we'll get into in a minute, like how life changing that has been for people's journeys, including myself, of just having that community or somebody to positively influence them and to fall back on. And when people get that feeling, it's so indescribable. I can't even imagine how many people's lives you've extremely positively impacted.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, it's been super, super incredible. And then the really cool thing is, when you impact someone and then that causes that ripple effect, then they're impacting people. And that whole ripple effect to be able to take a back seat and or I would more so say for me to have a front watching them. It's just it's really the coolest thing ever, and we've created a really amazing community in person and online because of that, and I think that that's really missing in today's society is that true community, and that's another part that my business is focused on is building that community with other people.
It is amazing how you can get so much help and information online. That you post, it's free to see. And I'm just glad you're doing it from all fronts, like in person and virtually.
Thank you.
CycleBar. And I know I said this at the beginning, but like your classes changed my life. One of my friends took me to one of the classes initially, and I met so many people through it. You always would speak during a certain section of it and always had so many empowering, but relieving and validating words to share. There were times in classes that I would start tearing up. It would just really hit home what you were saying or what you were going through and what you wanted to share with everybody in the class. It was that sense of community and environment. Going to that class and being able to like release everything physically and emotionally changed everything for me. So, how did you find indoor cycling and how did you become an actual instructor?
First of all, thank you for those kind words. That's so sweet. That again, it just
I mean
reminds me
it.
why you do things
Yeah.
because there are people that you have no clue. You don't know what someone's going through or how you can impact someone just on, showing up. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Cycle bar. So this actually translates from athletics. So right out of college, as many athletes go through, you kind of lose yourself a little bit because you've been so structured, you've been so disciplined, you've been so goal focused. And then you find yourself like, okay, now what the heck do I do that I don't have this that I've had since I was 5 years old that I have worked for all the way through I was, 21, 22. So that was a really I went through it after college trying to figure out what was gonna fuel my passion and what I was gonna do, and that's where fitness came into play for sure, but more so CycleBar. I've told the story a few times, I don't know if I've told it on a public platform before, but CycleBar kind of fell into my lap in a crazy way where I actually took a CycleBar class, and it was my very first one that I ever took, and I took it my mom and I took it together, and we took it because, again, I was feeling a little bit lost, I felt like I needed something, and I had heard that indoor cycling had loud music, and you ride to the music, and that was, like, up my alley after coming from cheerleading and just needing a little something to do. So, we went and took a class at CycleBar, and lo and behold, 2 days after that, one of the front desk girls, I actually had known her. She gave my information to the manager at the time. And the manager at the time reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about teaching indoor cycling?" I said, "Girl, I didn't even know how to get my feet clipped in on the bike. So no." And I was dying the whole class. I was like, I don't know if I can ever, this was hard. I don't know if I can ever
It's
do this.
hard.
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I loved it. I loved the
Mhm.
vibes. I love the community. I love just everything about it. And so at first in my mind, I was like, immediate no, absolutely not. No way could I do that because as much as I have worked on becoming an extrovert and have good people skills, it's not in my immediate nature. Like if I could just stay home and talk to no one, I would.
I feel that.
Working on that it's been a work in progress over the last 10 years for me. And so thinking about teaching a spin class, being up on a podium in a spotlight in front of 50 people was like that was absolutely debilitating to me. So I'm like, I don't know about this. But then I thought about it and I said, you know what? I just moved home from college. Why don't we just give it a whirl and see what happens? Met up with the manager at the time and she ran me through everything. I mean, I didn't even know what an RPM was on the bike. I didn't know what the gear I knew nothing, right? So, totally taking a chance on me, but she taught me some things and then I ended up working on a lot of things and I went through an audition process and somehow, by the grace of God, made it through the audition process. And from there, it was a little bit different at CycleBar at this time, but from there, they actually had someone from New York fly in to where we were at and do like a boot camp with us. And you had to make it through the end of the boot camp to be chosen to be an instructor. Made it through. Again, somehow why I know it was what I was meant to do is because I really did
Mhm.
not find at the time. Here's one thing I've learned in anything with anything I've done in the last 10 years, it's that you're never gonna be ready, and you have to just start, and I wish that I had, in many things, had just gotten out of my own way and just went for it and learned along the way, because I think the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people just go. They don't need all the answers. They don't need to know what they're doing, or they don't have to have it figured out. You just go and figure it out along the way. So,
Yeah.
long story short, after that, I ended up becoming an instructor and taught about 13 rides a week between Northville. And then shortly after that, I was asked to help open a location in Bloomfield Hills. So went over to Bloomfield Hills. I became the manager of that studio. I did everything from hiring the front desk to the sales team to auditions for new instructors to training every instructor that came through. Everything, you name it, from operations, from running a studio. So during that time, I learned a lot. And I believe, again, as I've said many times already today, that everything happens for a reason. And
Mhm.
that like helped set me up for success in now having my own business. But yeah, that was a really, really learning and incredible time for me where I think I really found out a lot more who I was by being on that bike and by having to be vulnerable and be that kind of person up there. But yeah, I absolutely loved it and it really taught me a lot.
I am so glad they asked you to do that, and I'm so glad you took the risk and chance to do it. I mean, if anybody can do it, it's you, but I give you guys so much credit. You guys are curating playlists, you're creating the environment. Your face is everything to everybody in that room. You're leading 13 classes a week, which I'm like, how is your body even capable? Especially how fast you guys are spinning the bike. I'm like, I can never keep up with you. I know it's a lot of training, but then on top of it, how do you guys keep your bodies ready to go for that many classes you guys are instructing?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I'll be so honest with you. I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way. I definitely went through a period where because I was riding so much and exporting so much output, you're
Yeah.
like 500 or so calories per ride. Plus,
Mhm.
like you said, you're up there and you are the face of the they are looking to you for that full 45 minutes to an hour, right? So high energy. It doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. You could have received the worst news of your life and you have to go in there and be the best version of yourself because other people are counting on you. So I definitely experienced a lot of struggle in that, but I did learn, that sometimes your body does need rest and that's okay. And sometimes if you have a bad day, it is okay to share with your class that, look, I'm struggling today. I am riding the but we're in this together. I'm going to give you everything I have today and we're going to hit it together. And I think I've learned over the years that people actually really respect that and it kind of makes you more human. Back to the perfection. Like you're so caught up in being this perfect thing up there all of the time and when you can actually humanize yourself and let people know that you go through things
Mhm.
struggle just as much as the next person with this, that, and the other. And being able to get up there and be vulnerable with people, I think really goes a long way. But back to your original question, that's another reason why nutrition coaching came into play for me is because I was like, I am struggling because I'm not fueling my body in the right way. I'm not really sure what I should be doing or how I should be doing it. And so getting the education for that so that I could fuel my body in the right way. And it took me a long time to get my body on the right track. And I feel
Mhm.
a lot better now. But it definitely takes work and time and recovery.
Yeah, and commitment. I've spoken to a lot of professional athletes. Their bodies are pretty worn down, but they do always default to obviously the recovery time and then nutrition on top of it. And I think people don't realize how big of an impact that is for your overall success, but you do really have to buy into it to really understand and get yourself there. It's really critical to just have that more of a conversation, especially as college athletes, professional athletes, and then anything you do after it as well. If you want to live this lifestyle, then you also have to buy into what comes with that. So I appreciate you sharing all that because it's I give you so much credit. I'm like I'm dying after one class, and you're just going to the gym after. You're coaching five more like the next day. It's just amazing.
But you do have to, like you said, I mean, you gotta put the time just as much time in that you're, using for your output, like, you gotta put that time into fuel your body in the right way by eating the right things, making sure you're hydrating enough, giving your body the rest that it needs. Like, I'm a grandma, I'm in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock every single night. So it's just the lifestyle that you choose to live and how you're gonna navigate that.
Yep, absolutely. At for CycleBar, what has been your favorite themed class you've done, or what has been your favorite song that you see pop up in pretty much every class that you do?
Okay, I love this question. So I would say, well, first of all, if anyone knows anything about indoor cycling, you need something with a good beat drop. Like
You do.
I live for a good beat drop. I live for like where it builds up a little bit and then you give the 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown and then boom, that beat drops and you are either doing choreography or you're sprinting. So that for sure, but I mean, I am, like, the biggest Bieber fan ever, so any Justin Bieber even people in my rides, they're like, "I don't even like Justin Bieber, but I come to your Justin Bieber rides because you love Justin Bieber and how much you love playing his music in your rides." So, anything with a heavy beat drop and Justin Bieber all day long.
I love it. And I'm pretty sure I attended one of your Travis's JB rides one time,
Yes,
and it was like the best thing ever. So
yes.
I love that. I know you guys do such a good job with the playlist too. Like I feel like once you get a rhythm of it, then you're like, okay, you know what to look for and you get that. But it's another thing on top of it that you just have to be working on and, prepping for.
Well, make or break. We talk about it all the time. It is make or break for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it at the time too. You guys were sharing the playlist after. So if I just felt the vibe of that song and wanted to listen to it, you guys were so nice of just giving it to everybody.
Always. Yeah, always.
Sharing is caring, especially when it comes to good cycle music.
Oh, yeah,
I love it. All right. So let's pivot to Victorious Fitness.
yeah,
And when did you start this and what made it take off for you?
yeah. I'll give you a long story short. Goes back to the whole just wishing I woulda just started things when I had, the inkling or the idea, because I fought a battle in my mind for 3 years. 3 years in my head, I was like, "You know what? I feel like I have a lot of info that I could share with people, and I think it could make an impact," but what was holding me back was being that introverted extrovert, right? I didn't wanna put myself online. I really didn't. I didn't want to expose myself in that way when the internet can be a dark place.
Mhm.
That was and not even that, but not even strangers, but, what are people that are close to me gonna think? It's a very scary thing to put yourself out there, but at the end of the day, when you truly come back to the reason why you're doing it is not to be an influencer, not to make money, not to but simply because you know that you have information that you can share that could maybe change someone's life, it's like, why aren't you doing that? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you have 5 followers or 1,000,000 followers. Like, if you're impacting those people, that makes a difference in the world. So, after a lot of mental battles, back and forth, I finally took the leap and created my fitness account. So it was public, and like I said, I had the intention of I just want to impact people in whatever way I can, whether that's helping someone know what to do in the gym when they walk into the gym and they're intimidated, they have no idea what to do. Helping someone with nutrition when they have a certain goal and they don't know what they should be eating or how much they should be eating or
Mhm.
protein thrown everywhere. What's a good protein? What's not? All those questions that, yes, you can ask the internet for, you can ask Chat GPT. But I noticed as I would scroll through feed, I would see just so much false advertising for people trying to make money or get views.
Mhm.
And that was where I was like, okay, I'm drawing the line. I'm going to start something because I want to be an account and a person that people can truly trust. So that was the goal behind it. So all I did was I just started putting my information out there, started posting, started creating content, started making videos, started making specifically a lot of like at home dumbbell workout videos that people can do if you're busy, if you're a mom, if you
Mhm.
don't have time, if you don't know what to do. And so that was the main focus. One day, one of my videos just popped off big time where it got like 3 million views. And because of that video, then everything else on my page started popping off. And then I started gaining traction and gaining followers. And it was a little overwhelming at the time. It was kind of crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But again, when you get messages from people that are on a different continent and they're messaging you saying, I do your workouts every single day, or your positivity that you share on your stories has helped me so much, or whatever that is, it's like it makes it so worth it. So that was the reason why I started the Instagram. And then through that, I started my one on one coaching business where I work with people one on one of all fitness levels. I do mostly women, but I also do some men too, and help them from absolutely everything and anything with health, fitness, nutrition, wellness, mindset, all the things. And I do one on one coaching for them.
I love that. It's amazing what you're doing. It's amazing how many, especially for females, just what you're doing and impacting. And like you've said, if anybody is busy, you can still kind of work fitness into your life. It just might not be exactly what your mental model of it was, but it still is enough. It's like any type of movement, it doesn't always have to be like the most intense thing in the world to feel good about yourself and to find a passion in fitness. And I think that's where we get it wrong a lot is like, you can go on a walk, you can do a dumbbell workout at home, like it does, like for me as an athlete, I love the high intensity workouts. I love the cycle. I love, the Orange Theory. I love all of
Yeah.
those. And I have to remind myself, hey, it's actually okay to still get some movement in a different way. And it's still worth the time to do that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I fully agree with you on the vulnerability of being on social media. I think it is a scary place. And there is such a positive in social media, and then there's such a negative side as well. And I can fully relate to you on that with starting this too. I'm like, okay, I'm sure people will be talking about it. Like, why would she start this? Or is she going to take it off? And it's like, you shouldn't have to even worry about the people close to you and what they think, but we all do anyway. And then on
Yeah.
top of it, obviously, strangers and others as well. But I agree that like every single DM I've gotten or comment or anybody you've helped, even if it was just one person, like that is why we started this. And going back to like our perfectionism and internal confidence, if anybody wants to start an online presence, of course it's vulnerable. Of course it's so hard to put yourself out there. I've had plenty of anxiety myself about it. But then I
Mhm.
always have to just like really work hard to remind myself why I started it in the first place and that I have and can continue to build the internal confidence myself to not let always the external validation or people's negativity define what I'm going to do with it. And if you
Yeah.
didn't start it, you wouldn't have impacted over 100 people of just your followers on top of the millions that have seen it. And so I
Yeah.
just really commend you for sticking with it because it is a scary place to be in it. Vulnerability really sucks sometimes, but as long as we remind ourselves why we started it, like we got to
Yeah.
run with that.
Yeah, and to be rooted just in your purpose, rooted in your purpose,
Yeah.
rooted in your mission. And someone told me this once, and it literally changed the way my perspective on how I thought about
Mhm.
things. But that no one that's ahead of you is ever going to judge you for anything. So anyone that has already done what you are doing, they are just going to cheer you on because they've already done it and they know that it's possible. And when you see average people like me, I am nothing special at all. And when
You
you
are. You are, but okay.
start and you go and you can accomplish something, you're like, "Oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it." So,
Yeah.
having that mentality also.
100%. That's the thing. I've been exposed to a lot of females that want to also help other females. I think we focus on the negativity sometimes or the hate online or whatever it is, but I've also seen the flip side of it where it can be so incredible and so supportive, supporting each other as entrepreneurs and in these passions is so important. And that goes for team dynamics as well.
Absolutely. And I share it on my social media all the time, but I do have a partnership with First Form, which
Yeah.
a company, and they have the culture at First Form is the absolute greatest. I can say with 100% confidence I would not be where I am without them. Obviously have done all the work myself, of course, like you have to put it, but the going back to what you said is, having people that support each other and surrounding yourself with those people, the people that I am surrounded with and the friendships that I have made through that is another reason that has helped me just encourage me to keep going because they're
Mhm.
in circle, they're doing the same things. They also have a mission of helping as many people as they can. And when you surround yourself with those people, you begin to elevate and then they begin to elevate and it's really cool. And then you drown out the rest of the noise and it doesn't even matter.
Yes, that's so true, and that's the important part of it. People will always be able to hide behind a screen or when you're not in the room, but as long as that's drowned out and you can just focus on the positive of it, even though it's so much easier said than done. And
Yeah.
like you're saying, just being a catalyst for others and then being a catalyst for you, it's just the most incredible feeling. And I just love when I meet people like you because it's just validating that there are still wonderful people out there that want to help others. And it's not always about, again, like you said, the money or financial compensation of it or even the visibility. It's really just changing lives. And I think it's so important.
100%.
And so, with the fitness side, what is like your overall fitness philosophy? And if somebody came to you saying, "Hey, I want to start, my fitness journey and I
Yeah.
don't know how," what would you tell them?
Yeah, so, I mean, my biggest philosophy are almost like 2 taglines of my business. One is to create fitness as a lifestyle. So, being that, your health and fitness can totally fit into, as we talked about before, fit into your
Mhm.
daily life, whether that's going out for a walk, going and playing some pickleball, going and, playing with your kids, like, my mission is to set people up for success for longevity. Not yes, do you wanna look and feel good? Absolutely, but to set yourself up for later things in life so that you can play with your kids. You can play with your grandkids at some point. Like my whole philosophy is to set people up for success for sustainability and for longevity. So that'd be number 1. And then number 2, my second little tagline, I have it on all my merch and we always say it at the end of all of my community events, but it's just stronger together, meaning that when we get together, we really are stronger together. And this is something we say at First Form all the time. And I have incorporated it into my own community is that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. So, getting people and rallying people to come together is going to make such a greater impact than going by yourself. And I'm a firm believer that you're not meant to do life alone. And so we need each other and we need community to help each other. So, yes, when people come into my one on one coaching platform or Instagram or ecosystem at all, like, if I want to help you with health and fitness, absolutely. But I also want to show you that you're not alone and there's a community of people that are going to bind to you the second that you step into it.
I love that so much. I appreciate everything that you've shared today. It's so helpful. And I need to set time up with you a different day to go through nutrition stuff too for me.
I got you.
It's such a great thing to be a part of. It's such a wonderful world when you're in it. And I think the hardest part too is to start. However you want to change habits, right? Breaking habits or wanting to start new things.
Yep.
It's just getting it into your schedule and starting. And that is the hardest part of it. Whenever I'm kind of out of my groove and I'm trying to find time to go back to that workout class, like once I'm in it, I'm like, okay, yep, I'm scheduling my next one. I get in that like high of it and feeling better the next day. Just some more advice is if you want to start, then you just truly just have to start. And it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
extreme. It can be the
Yep.
simplest things.
And there's never gonna be a good time, and I've
There's
seen that with
never a
my
good time.
and that yeah, you're always busy, something always comes up, and so you just have to learn to just start, and like you
Yep.
said, you don't have to spend 3 hours in the gym, you give
Yeah.
20, 25, 30 minutes to prioritize yourself, and not only is that going to, yes, make you in good physical shape, but it's going to be so good for your mental state, and just something to fill your cup up is just so, so important.
Absolutely. Before we close up, I do have like a quick this or that game for you. So it's just like You just have to pick one. And
Good.
some of them in my head, I'd be like, okay, I can see you're picking both, but just like, do your best to pick one. And you can give a
Okay.
justification if you want, or it can just be like rapid fire.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
All right. So deadlifts or squats?
Ooh, deadlifts.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I like that too. Okay. Morning workout or evening workout?
Evening.
Interesting. Why?
I I always have taught, like, spin early in the morning, but
Yeah.
my body feels way better. I can do it in the morning, but my body feels stronger and better in the evening, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Fair. I'm total morning. Even though I'm tired, I just love starting my day that way. But it's more of like
Yeah.
the full day routine than anything.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to lift heavy or execute more reps?
Ooh, that's a toss-up. It depends on what I'm training.
I knew you
I'm
were
s
going to say
Yeah,
that.
it depends on what I'm training for, 'cause there's nothing better than, like, hitting a PR and feeling really, like, beast mode strong, but
Yeah.
also, I like to challenge myself with doing a little more, like, high intensity, so that's a split hap I can't pick.
Okay. That's fair. I'll take that. I agree. Okay. Treadmill or outdoor run?
Ooh, outdoor run.
Okay. That's fair. I feel like treadmills are just tough on the body too, you know? It's like
Even, like,
hard to be
the pavement,
stuck.
I mean, this goes back to, like, my whole back injury. There's certain things that bother me, like squats, for example, they bother me, so deadlifts all
Yeah.
day. But, yeah, running is not my forte. I will say that. I can do a little jog, but that's a goal in 2026 is I'm gonna get out there more and run.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just I like being outside. I like a little sunshine.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. It's nice. I think I get like as a female, I don't know why this is so, like kind of silly, not really, but like I get scared running alone for some reason. I'm like somebody's gonna follow me and chase me, but it's like you shouldn't have to feel that way. So I
Yeah.
think in a perfect world, I would always do the outdoor, like
Yes.
100%. Do you upper body day or leg day?
So tough. These are tough questions. You got me
I
split.
know. I
I'm gonna go
know.
I'm gonna go upper body.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, I
I
love the
agree. It depends too on the day. Work out alone or with a partner.
alone.
I
That's like being
actually agree. I agree. I get distracted with a partner, and sometimes it's nice, don't get me wrong, but I think at the end of the day, I'd like to be really focused and get it done.
Yeah. I like to do, like, team stuff, like, every once in a while, do some team stuff to get like I said,
Mhm.
in-person events, like, live for that. I love the community aspect, but if I'm just doing, like, a normal everyday workout, put my headphones in and I get to work.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Two more.
Yep.
Leggings or shorts?
Shorts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I'll give you that. I guess it depends what I'm doing. And then last one, just a full rest day or active recovery?
Oh, I usually gotta do something. I'd say active
I
recovery.
know.
At least get my steps in, go for a nice walk, or I just mentally feel better.
Yeah. 100%. I knew you were going to say that. So I just had to ask.
And I do like to take some time to, just veg out and watch my reality TV shows or whatever that is.
Do you have anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to share?
I think you did a great job. You asked some really so impressed. You asked some really good questions and you made me think too that I'm like, wow, I haven't really thought about that in a while. I should make sure that's on my radar. So I think you did absolutely amazing. And I just want to say I'm seriously so grateful that you even thought of me to do this. So thank you for that. And I'm going to be rooting for you, obviously, the whole way. I'm going to share your podcast. It's going to be great. So you're
Thank
doing
you.
great. I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you, Victoria. It means the world to me. And where can people find you, take your classes, and follow your journey?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. So on Instagram, it's just at Victoria's underscore fitness. And then TikTok, it's Victoria Clay 0. And then if you want to come find me in person, I teach at CycleBar in Northville. And then for anyone that's ever interested in community events or one-on-one coaching, you can just DM me on Instagram and I have all the info on there.
And if you are a local in Michigan, I highly, highly, highly recommend going to find her at Cycle Bar because you will not regret it, even if you have to drive far.
Thank you. I'd love to have them.
And I need to come back too. And I will make that
Yes,
happen. That is on my list. So
good. I'll hold you to it.
thank you. Please do. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for being here. You've been such an incredible influence in my life. I know you're doing the same for thousands of women through your classes and your content. So keep bringing the energy that you do. The world really needs it. And thank you for sharing your journey with She Aced That today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. And we will see you all next Wednesday.